just adjust this. So this is for Patreon members now. We're gonna work this dress. And the last video showed you about, skin tone with the grays. Now we're gonna use the same kind of grays right here. And we're going to work just the dress to make it look kind of shiny, right? Get my brushes here. So, just like the others, I like to start with the darks first, right? Which are already there. Just kind of go over it a bit because I like doing wet on wet shading. So I paint up the edges again. I shouldn't do that because my hand's on the left side. All right, so. Alright, this is kind of exactly what I want to be going on here. And this brush may be a little too big for some of these spots, but that's fine. We can cover in black later with the small brush. The biggest thing for me is getting this area moist. Moist, because I like doing white on white shading. Or, sorry, wet on wet shading. And you're going to see too, like it's actually not overly complex. It just might be if you've never done it before, like, getting that shiny look. But really, I'm just using a dark gray, a light gray, and the black. And, and obviously white highlights at the end. But it's, generally speaking, it's really not that hard. And again, using these colors, if you go over the edge of your art, whatever art you're doing, a little bit, it's really nothing to worry about because just cover it like here. I got a little dot there. I'll cover that with the black. All right, so got this part. It's not completely dry yet, which is exactly what we want. I'm gonna rinse my brush. And I'm gonna go to a smaller one. Oh, I bought new brushes. Actually, and we're gonna use one of these. This one looks nice. Look at that, like nice and pointy. It's kind of like my other ones, but the other ones wore down. All right, so I'm gonna go a little lighter now. Dog, please don't hit that tripod. Come on, bud. There you go. Thank you. Okay. There we go. Perfect. And because it's still wet on wet, it takes about, 5-10 minutes to dry completely. So you're able to kind of shade it. I'm just using the tip of the brush, kind of almost dabbing in a weird way, right? I don't want it to spread too much. Now, there's going to be a cord coming from the microphone that goes over here. So if you're wondering why there's that abnormal line there. But there's no point in me painting it in just to try to paint around it. I'm painting a Turner dress. Yeah. I don't know why I decided to sing there. Remember, if your lines aren't too clean, don't worry about it. Remember, we're covering over with black, and we've got black to fill in lines after, right? So it's totally fine, bro. And sister bros. And everything in between. Remember, we're using some warms and cool grays. My next layer, I'm going to add some of the, do you guys remember, like a teal? Give it a little more of a cool gray, because right now, obviously, this is very warm gray. And you can tell because it's got almost more of a, kind of a very slight orangey reddish to it, or just less teal. Okay, so now I'm going to get my teal. And all I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna put, oh look, there's some wine left. I spilled some wine last night. So I'm gonna put a little teal in this side over here. Just a little. There we go. As you can see, we don't need much paint to work on these things. Now, get that brush. So, take my kind of dark gray there, or sorry, gray. No, that's the dark stuff. I'm gonna just start to mix it together and make it a really cool gray. Not white so much, but very cool. I'll show you in one sec here. See that? See? It's nice and cool. Cool as they call it. Like that stuff I used to think I was in school. I'm so cool. Why does nobody like me? Maybe I wasn't as cool as I thought. I should have mixed some grays into my world. Alright, good. That's exactly where's my spray bottle? Alright, the spray bottle is lost. Way over there. Well, I'll do it without it. Alright, so now we're going to add some cool grays on top of these. See how they almost look white too? Then when we put the super white highlight, it's going to be like, what? That's super white, bro. See how easy it is now to start getting a kind of a shine look? Over here. And this is how easy it is to actually get a kind of nice shiny look. Now we're still going to add some black here to, give it some more edginess. But you mix the nice, remember those from the other day, just in case anybody didn't see those, but you should have. We used orange, cadmium orange, ultramarine blue, and teal for our cool gray. And then you add a little bit of white to it, or a little black if you want, but you don't really need that. And then for the warm gray, we use green and red, and a little bit of white. And it's like, what? Green and red? Yep, green and red will make gray, believe it or not. And it's different types of gray, right? Like I said, there's cool grays, warm grays. Now, exactly why that works from a science, I have not science guy. I'm just not that bright. But I've learned some of these things over the years, and now I can share it with you guys. So if you're either on my level or higher, which many are, but maybe, like I remember doing this thing last year for a school, and I was showing them this as part of our mixing. And even the teacher was like, wait, you can get gray this way? I didn't know that. And I was like, oh, I guess that's why you're the art teacher. Okay. But even a lot of people don't know, because it's just, you just don't think too much of it, especially if you're a bit of a amateur, if it's not your living. You'd just be like, well, gray's gray, right? And it's like, no, man, it's crazy how grays can be different gray. Why am I even explaining it like that? Because even I still don't get it. But it works. That's what I get. I get that. Anyway, seeing as this is going out to my Patreon members, yeah, thanks again for being members. I mean, Payday is coming up in 3 days. It's 26 today. Thank God it's not a leap year because I need the cash to go to Montreal. But yeah, thank you guys so much. Every time it gets up to, just a couple days away, I'm just like, wow, man, these people, some of them haven't even met me in real life. They're just like, you know what? Here you go, Dave. Here's $5 or here's $10 every month. And man, does it make a difference. But yeah, just want to say thanks. But yeah, let's finish making this shiny. Now that we're using white to do like super, remember, you very little spots. Like it's part of what makes things shiny is when you actually don't use as much white. So now the white on top of this makes it like it really pops because the rest of it's just like a light color. It almost look white against the black, right? But now, once we get the white, being a little tight here because there's going to be a small line here. Actually, what's good about this over here is I can show you one more thing too about painting things like a dress like this to make it look a little more realistic. All right, that should basically do it. Remember, we don't want to overdo it. I'm going to put a little more on this side because the light source is coming from over here. So I'm going to go really bright white on this side, at the edge here. Again, I'm almost just like, almost dabbing it on with the tip here. But more than technique, this is more like about the color. There we go. I'm going to just go over that and use a second layer. White. Now you got a pretty shiny dress. Maybe I'll do a little ding over here, but see how this is brighter than over here? That actually helps add to the reality. Again, it's just a painting. It's not super photorealistic, but it's getting there. By having a light sources only near edges that are like super bright and everything inside is a little off-whitish, you know what I mean? It really adds a lot to it. All right, so just going to go with the black now. And I'm using the same black as the background here, so I can cover that up by the way. And just kind of go, oh, this is what I wanted to say. So over here, there's a little seam in our dress. Now, when you're doing the seam, see how this part is bright because it's coming out. The part that recedes is going in, right? So instead of just a straight line, kind of work. If it's out, turn a little out. If it's in, turn a little in, almost like you're snaking your way down. I'm hoping you can see this close up if your screen's big enough. So I'm going to go a little curve there and an imaginary underneath because it's black, so it doesn't matter. Curve that way, that way, that way, that way. Boom. And that just gives it a little more realistic of a curve. Just looks a little more natural. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying because I said it. All right, so. And also the good thing about going over this with your black is, you're cleaning up anything that you might have missed or wasn't as smooth as you wanted it. So light source this way, so we're going to have the darker part on this side, the seam, and this we're just going to kind of dab it. I'm not so much worried about the seam part because the light's so bright on that side. All right, and then just kind of do the rest. Kind of. Now again, this isn't necessarily about you painting Tina Turner, but whatever it is you're painting. This is more about working your grays, right? And how effective using warm and cool grays are. Amazing. Half this stuff I didn't even know like 5 years ago. Well, maybe 5 years ago. Oh, yeah, actually, I did know because I guess COVID's been 2 years for crying out loud. Holy moly! So we'll say, I don't know, 10 years ago, maybe a little less. I didn't know half this. I was just like, I'm just painting a picture, man. See, that's one of the problems. I grew up doing a lot of comic book art, and so when I was growing up with comic book art, there wasn't really like your shades were basically black or white for your highlights. That's it. Like there wasn't a lot of shading. Like it was very what's the word? Rudimentary. Like it was basic level. I mean, comics have come so far, but so when I was drawing on the sidewalk, I always used white chalk for highlights and black to shade. And it's only once I finally started to learn a little more about colors that my art came just so much better. It looks way better because you can even use that in black and white, right? It's not even just with colors. Like as you can see, if you know your tones a little better than just plain black and white, like actually think about this. So this picture, in this picture, there is red, green, ultramarine blue, teal, orange, black, white. Think about that. That's kind of bakes your noodle a little bit, right? But it's because of that that this has so much depth to it. So, or values or something, whatever those grown up art words are. You know what? I should look up online. Is it values? I think it's values. I should look. Just be patient with me as I become super famous or try to. Because I am a high school dropout and I have no idea what you're supposed to call things properly. I'm just one of those people that's stubborn, and when I like to do something, I just don't really want to try anything else, kind of thing. Almost, I get obsessed. So I guess that's what made me paint half decent. It's what's allowed me to learn how to solve the Rubik's cube. Now I'm working on piano. Maybe I'll become a super piano person. All right, and the dress, yeah, I could use a little more black. Sorry if this is me just talking a lot here, but doing the edge. Make sure you get, remember that this is a dress and she's kind of bent over a little, hunched over a bit. So don't make straight lines. You want to make folds and think of the body, right? Like this part of the ribs, just as it comes to the stomach. This would be her stomach, torso area. So you want this will bulge a little, so there'll be folds. And if you think about how the body is shaped, then you kind of start to understand how the clothes are going to fall a bit on it, right? They don't fall straight. That's another mistake I used to make a lot. The kid trying to draw stuff. It's just like you put clothes, you draw clothes on it very square like. And that's kind of not how clothes work. All right. And that will do it for how to make the shiny dress. Now I'm going to finish off here, but this gives you, you don't need like an hour of stuff to figure this out. You just saw it. So let's just recap with I used a warm and cool gray. And a warm gray is say like your red, green, mix them together. And again, add white or not as you see fit. You might want it darker or lighter, but it's still going to be a warm gray. The cool gray would be more like the teal and cadmium orange, and again, white as you see fit. And then yeah, like you could, even if you want, you can use a little burnt sienna, like if you want like a almost like a sepia gray, but for our intents and purposes. So we got warm and cool, and then I made a super cool gray, almost white but not quite, and then just white highlights, and then the black, which is just flat onyx, I think, just flat black. That's it. Just boom, and really think of how difficult this seems like it could be as a finished piece, but when you break it down into these little nuggets, it's really not that hard. So I'm gonna post this on Patreon. I hope you liked it for what it's worth. Oh, Mary, there's Mary. Yes, Mary, this is live, but this is for I'm gonna post this on the Patreon. That's why I'm not drinking or playing music really loud, kind of like a step by step here. So I'm gonna post this, and then maybe I'll go live tonight, everybody, with the lion painting if I get Tina done in time. So I'm gonna want to finish this dress, Then I'll post a work in progress. Yeah, I will have time because I'm going to save the hair. Let's move this for 1 second for you guys. I'm going to post the hair part of this as the last step of the video. So the next time you see the step by step, our skin tones are going to be done and the dress will be done. And then we're going to work on just the hair, on how you get that kind of frizzy light look. You know what I mean? So thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for being Patreon members. I think you're awesome. And oh, so many cameras. Yeah, okay.